Canada will now authorize and make legal the killing of babies. This news, as shocking as it's going to echo through the planet, is a means by which for you to protest that you don't want this to happen. The moment, and listen carefully, the moment you protest, you have already brought that into law, which will happen in 2023 March. So if I haven't said it, if I have not made myself clear, I'll make myself clear again. Canada will be reporting, as well as the rest of the world, that they have legal authorization for the hospitals to put down babies, children, anybody that feels depressed, anybody going into hospital saying they're depressed and feel like they want to be killed. They will say we have the right to kill them. Full stop. This is a ploy in order for you to feel that you are powerless to do anything about it. As a result, you will protest. And the moment you protest, you have given that legal. That is why you are going to protest. The moment you protest is the moment that you give them authority to be able to bring this about in the March period of 2023. Full stop. Because of this, I'm holding an emergency meeting for everybody. Okay, for everybody. And that emergency meeting will take place today, which is Monday, my time, in the UK. And the time has gone, I think, backwards. Okay? Or forwards, I actually forgotten. But you check it yourself. 11:45 p.m. UK time, I will be holding an emergency meeting to tell you folks and to educate you folks how this is going to be rolled out, why they're trying to do the rollout, what the meaning of that, and how is it for your ability to stop this? How do you bring this to a stop? I will be holding that, that educational program for you folks to get you to understand why these things happen to you. And the rest of this presentation, which will easily go on for about half an hour or so, is up to you to watch it. But I want to make this very clear. I'm telling you why it does what it does and why it works the way that it works. But through my website, if you want out of this system, just like with my Tricks and Traps students and my students at large and with the Task and Force, you have to go to my website and learn how to do it. In other words, you have to pay for it. But the training that I will give you as to why it happens, the way it happens, for 11:45 today, that is free. That is free. I know what I want, and you folks need to know what you want. I'm wanting people that want to do something about it for themselves. And I want to make it very clear that I am not your martyr and I am not your savior. It is you that has to save yourself. And you have to know that you are doing this for your children, because they're going to come for your babies and your children and your nephews. Full stop. Have you heard and understood what I have said? The moment, just like in the 70s, when they said, God save the Queen and the fascist regime, you made verbal contract. That's supposed to be a protest song, but that protest song, in reality, in the realm of law, goes in as an anthem. And they are hoping, and shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm saying. And they are hoping that when you protest this, that you will transfer the responsibility over them, and they will now say no. That's what protest means. It means no test. PRO means no, and test, of course, is test of competence. They are hoping that you will transfer the responsibility to say that the hospitals and etc. have the power. If you go down that route, you will screw yourself up. The rest of this presentation is going to be the lengthier versions, where I will provide the evidence as a precursor to today's training program. The training program will be questions and answers, specifically to what I am talking about now. Not to bring all of your bullshit to me, because I'm not interested. For my tricks and traps students, you already know what to do. For the task and force people, you already know what to do, and you're welcome to come on it. But I want to make it very clear for the rest of you folks out there, and you are free to share this video in the private and confidential to your family and friends so they can attend. This is me doing my tithe. This is me doing my social duties, what they call a social contract. You guys understand. You ladies understand. Canada was the test ground as to what the tolerance level will be for you to accept that which is intolerable. And the Canadians, unfortunately, as much as they did what they did, they said we basically cannot stop the government from raping and pillaging us. The answer is yes, you can do. But the moment you protest, the moment that you go and do these things, as noble as it feels at the time in the 70s when they said God save the Queen, they didn't know. And it's the level of ignorance that is perpetrated. It's the level of ignorance, wanting ignorance, that people practice. You folks are responsible for your life. And in this world, there's not going to be any martyrs. No Jesuses and etc. for you to crucify for your goddamn half-witted nonsense. So let's go on to the presentation. I'm not sorry at all for the strong language. You understand what I have said. They are going to, if you allow it by protest, they will try to kill your babies and your old age pensioners or anybody else like mental health and etc. And if you try to stop them, they will try to put you in prison, just like with the sex changes and etc. This will break out all over the place. And they are hoping and to incite protest. On today's training, I'll give you the means to how to stop them, as it were, but you have to put it in. And I ain't paying for it. You understand? Today's one is free. If that is free. But I want to make it very clear for those people that want to do this for the rest of their family and etc. You go to my website and then you get that bloody paperwork, that training that you need to do that. You pay your own way. And I want to make that very clear. This is what is going to be happening if you protest that this bill means there's going to be payment involved, and they will call them mature minors. And once that happens, you will not be able to stop it. If you ever thought how the Nazis came into existence, you're looking at it. You are in the midst of a cull. This is the video that will be going around. I'll play a few seconds, see if I can get the gist of it.
By March, a new law in Canada is expected to allow children to be killed by doctors, by state doctors, without the approval of their parents. It seems like a very...
I'll leave it at that, otherwise it will be like a copyright infringement, okay? But what he essentially has said to you, March next year, that they are hoping that you hear the message, because it's Fox News, it's Foxy News. It's the tricks and traps of a fox. Yeah, the cunningness of a fox. They are hoping that you will protest. When you protest somebody, You're telling them that they have power over you. That's why you're protesting. Your governments are your servants. You understand? You don't protest your servants. I'm going to play you the length of this video. It's on the back of a few other subjects that the task and force are dealing with. But this is what you're faced with. And it's a TikTok, and I'm using it as fair market usage. Okay, and this video is private and confidential to all of my Tricks and Traps students, as well as Tricks and Traps students at large. Okay, indirect or direct.
What is adrenochrome?
For the drug adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a chemical that our body produces when we are extremely fearful or have a lot of distress. It gives you strength, it gives you vitality. And the people that killed Jesse are harvesting that from other people. And when you drink it, it gives you euphoria and power.
So this is one of Oprah's favorites. She says it's a miracle fountain of youth and her magic wrinkle cure. So I'm going to put a little on your hand.
I do that. Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're going to rub it right in.
How come it?
See how he obfuscates with comedy to take your attention away that this is actually living human tissue harvested from babies.
It's red. Which,
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human.
look, the wrinkles has just disappeared.
See how he deliberately interrupts her so you don't get the full sentence, and the audience mysteriously starts to laugh. You don't know if that is a live audience. The entire world is a stage, and if you believe you're an actor, they will take you out. If you have a history of lying, cheating, and etc., they will take you out. You don't need to be vaccinated for this stuff.
I can't even ball my hand up.
So it's made from human foreskin.
You tell Oprah this what's on her face?
She knows.
She knows.
There were a couple protesters about it because they are cells from baby foreskin.
Oh, baby foreskin.
That makes it better.
Yeah, that's different. I thought it was some grown ass man.
It makes it better. It's better because it's baby skin. They're not going to stop, nor have they stopped with just simply foreskin. It's the entire baby because it has rejuvenative properties.
Okay, does it work?
So yes, human foreskin has actually been used in growth factors. There's a lot of research on it. It's been shown to increase collagen production. It'll fill in all those lines and wrinkles. And Oprah looks great.
4 days after Elena Castilla died, this memo was sent to the doctor who would perform her autopsy, giving instructions to harvest Elena's organs.
Who are these monster monsters? Who are these people? I didn't sign no papers. I didn't sign for them to disassemble.
In the letter signed by Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Sam Andrews, it instructs the doctor to preserve the brain, remove the cervical spine, eyes, and lungs, among other things.
Folks, preserve the brain, the dura mater and the brain. Do you understand this? It's still alive. When you put psychopaths and allow them to get away with it, they will ravage your world.
It's this. Because this is not all of my baby. Because what I'm reading here, this is on my child right here. Remove flesh and preserve the heart. I don't even have raw heart.
Pushing into the skin.
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby. It's like That's what it is.
No, okay.
Who
I
comes
don't
up
know.
with this?
I don't.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, they're creating laughter, but this is all just background noise. The audience is not laughing. If the audience were really there, they will beat them to a ground. They will beat them until they are dead. Look, your mortgages, your credit cards, your student loans, sponsors, and directly and indirectly feeds this monster. Now listen to the next one.
What does state-sponsored child abuse look like? Genderqueer in my son's library. Child-on-child oral sex.
The reason why they've pixeled out the book is because if you showed this on YouTube or any other media, it will be taken down and you'll be arrested for posting it. But these books that are telling children that you can accept anal sex from adults and various other things is all there, because the ones that have been perpetrating, the pedophiles, have created magnitude of words to try to escape from the horrors that they are doing. And the doctors, the nurses, nurses are considered to be angels, but they are stuck. They are stuck because they don't know what to do, because so many people are silent.
Pedophilia. A grown man grabbing the penis of an adolescent. Fun home. Cartoons of adult women engaged in vaginal oral sex. Can you see that from here? Because I have blow-ups if you need it. Tantric sex. Coaching oral sex, anal sex, vaginal and penis stimulation, and the desecration of the Star of David.
So at the moment there is a huge movement in the Jewish community, sponsored and upheld by hundreds of websites that want to bring this to a stop. Okay, and there's more to this than you can imagine. Why they desecrate the Star of David? Well, because they want to desecrate faith. The reason why you have religion and not faith is because that's how religion destroys faith.
Here you see a man with his finger in the vagina of a woman. Do you see that? Push. Graphic detail of a female child repeatedly raped by her father, an African-American child, Senator Street. Let me read you an excerpt. This time I know mama know. She know. She bring him to me. I ain't crazy. That stinking hoe give me to him. Probably that was he requires to f her, some of me. Got to go where he just come in my room any old time, not just night. He climb on me. Shut up, he say. He slap my ass. You wide as the Mississippi. Don't tell me a little bit of hurt your heifer.
When you give this type of literature to children, you are saying it happens in everyday life, and it's just a simple fact of life that your daddy rapes you and that your mother gives consent. That is how the child, that is how the baby, this is how the non-adult brain interprets this, because they don't have the ability to discriminate. That is why you need to hold children's hands in order to help them cross the road. It's because they cannot judge speeds, they cannot judge distances, they cannot judge what is safe and what is unsafe. They do what you do. They see you run across the road, they do that. And that is the literature that they're putting in to say it happens to everybody else. So you just might as well live with it. I want to make it very clear. Your schools, paraphrasing it, your schools, and I'm paraphrasing, are saying it's perfectly okay for Jews to be killed. And it's perfectly okay because Jews are not men and women. You allowed that to happen in World War II, and they didn't stop Jews, it was Germans themselves as well. That's, German victimology, that's Jewish victimology that they picked up from their own Bible, from their own scriptures, as it were. I've forgotten the name of the Jewish Bible. The point I'm making is the twists and turns that are taking place in your world you're not privy to it, because you're dealing with mechanisms that you don't fully understand. And I've done my best to educate you on how that works. Just watch any of my videos. And I want to make this very clear, and I'm not boasting. There is nothing on the surface of this planet that comes anywhere near from the works that I do. When David Wehmiller set all this in free flow with his quantum language and how the language works that control your behavior, the world of contracts, consent, agreements, etc. You have a mortgage. You have a death pledge in place for a reason. You understand? And the reason why they want to kill your babies in hospital rather than home, because in hospital they can organ harvest while the man, the girl, the little boy, the little baby is still alive. You cannot organ harvest with painkillers. They have to be alive. You cannot remove organs that are already dead. Do you understand this? This is not a story of Frankenstein where the body is dug up 6 weeks later or 2 weeks later or even 10 hours later, 3 hours later on the morgue table. They have to be alive for organ transplant, organ harvesting to take place. So the hospital makes money from it. There are quite literally hundreds of videos that explain this. On the black of moral blackmail, and just think about it, you as a female, you actually have the ability to control your own reproductive cycle at will. You can also control the moment of conception by will, whether you're going to get pregnant or not. They didn't tell you that. They got you to believe it's a misfortune of nature or by design. A woman has full control over her body. They never explained that. But nevertheless, the anti-abortion people, that's all created. You see how it works. The anti-abortion movement in the US and Canada is massive. And parallel with that, they're saying that it's perfectly okay for you to take your life at whatever level. That's called your freedom to reproduce. They've got control of your ability to either be pregnant, if you are pregnant, what to do with that baby, and they can take that baby away from you anytime that they want. The hell that's coming to you is the hell that is coming to you. And if you protest it, you've given it power. Let's get into a little bit more detail. The law recognizes that a young person may reach this stage before they are 18 years old. I'm asking, what is the age of mature minor? But there is no specific age when a young person may be significantly mature and capable of making their own decisions. These young people are referred to as mature minors. Minors quite literally means people that can't make their own decision. That's why they use words like persons, sufficient, mature, etc. Nowhere does it say people. And you've got to appreciate what I'm saying. People are not persons and persons are not people. Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, is your financial ticket out of this, just as the contracts are the way out of it in Miller's technology and my teachings as well. Listen to this speech and you will understand it. It's from Fountainhead. Before I even was born, this movie was made. And the Atlas Society is now championing Bitcoin. There is only going to be one currency. That's Bitcoin. We did an immense study on it. We did a training program on it. And it's all on my website. How Bitcoin works, why it works, etc. But you listen to the speech.
First man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burned at the stake he had taught his brothers to light, but he left them a gift they had not conceived, and he lifted darkness off the earth. Throughout the centuries, there were men who took first steps down new roads, armed with nothing but their own vision. The great creators, the thinkers, the artists, the scientists, the inventors, stood alone against the men of their time. Every new thought was opposed, every new invention was denounced. But the men of unborrowed vision went ahead. They fought, they suffered, and they paid, but they won. No creator was prompted by a desire to please his brothers. His brothers hated the gift he offered. His truth was his only motive. His work was his only goal. His work, not those who used it. His creation, not the benefits others derived from it. The creation which gave form to his truth. He held his truth above all things and against all men. He went ahead, whether others agreed with him or not, with his integrity as his only banner. He served nothing and no one. He lived for himself. And only by living for himself was he able to achieve the things which are the glory of mankind. Such is the nature of achievement. Man cannot survive except through his mind. He comes on earth unarmed. His brain is his only weapon. But the mind is an attribute of the individual. There is no such thing as a collective brain. The man who thinks must think and act on his own. The reasoning mind cannot work under any form of compulsion. It cannot be subordinated to the needs, opinions, or wishes of others. It is not an object of sacrifice. The Creator stands on his own judgment. The parasite follows the opinions of others. The Creator thinks. The parasite copies. The Creator produces. The parasite loots. The Creator's concern is the conquest of nature. The parasite's concern is the conquest of man. The Creator requires independence. He neither serves nor rules. He deals with men by free exchange and voluntary choice. The parasite seeks power. He wants to bind all men together in common action and common slavery. He claims that man is only a tool for the use of others, that he must think as they think, act as they act, and live in selfless, joyless servitude to any need but his own. Look at history. Everything we have, every great achievement has come from the independent work of some independent mind. Every horror and destruction came from attempts to force men into a herd of brainless, soulless robots without personal rights, without personal ambition, without will, hope, or dignity. It is an ancient conflict. It has another name: the individual against the collective. Our country, the noblest country in the history of men, was based on the principle of individualism, the principle of man's inalienable rights. It was a country where a man was free to seek his own happiness, to gain and produce, not to give up and renounce, to prosper, not to starve, to achieve, not to plunder, to hold as his highest possession a sense of his personal value, and as his highest virtue his self-respect. Look at the results. That is what the collectivists are now asking you to destroy, as much of the earth has been destroyed. I am an architect. I know what is to come by the principle on which it is built. We are approaching a world in which I cannot permit myself to live. My ideas are my property. They were taken from me by force, by breach of contract. No appeal was left to me. It was believed that my work belonged to others to do with as they pleased, that they had a claim upon me without my consent, that it was my duty to serve them without choice or reward. Now you know why I dynamited Cortland. I designed Cortland. I made it possible. I destroyed it. I agreed to design it for the purpose of seeing it built as I wished. That was the price I set for my work. I was not paid. My building was disfigured at the whim of others who took all the benefits of my work and gave me nothing in return. I came here to say that I do not recognize anyone's right to 1 minute of my life, nor to any part of my energy, nor to any achievement of mine, no matter who makes the claim. It had to be said. The world is perishing from an orgy of self-sacrificing. I came here to be heard in the name of every man of independence still left in the world. I wanted to state my terms. I do not care to work or live on any others. My terms are a man's right to exist for his own sake.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
He says it beautifully, does it not? And what is building called? Courtland, the land of the courtroom, which I control. David Wayne Miller taught me it. What did he say? Parasites. When I create the parasites, they try to copy me. And there are many people like that on my website. Some of them I do know, some of them I don't. Some of them I gave things for free, trained them at my own expense. There are always parasites. In this corona period, they are earmarked for distinction, for extinction. You know, in the Bible means two-way contract. Bi means two, as in bisexual. Bilateral, which means two, bicycle. And BLE is the old English word for contract, rather than able, which means no contract. It makes it very clear. It is not bad men and good men that are just going to be judged. It's those lukewarm people that allow all monstrosities to take place. The ones that sit on the fence, that are neither hot nor cold. And as the Christ said, I spit those people out, because I cannot stomach the lack of hot or the cold in these people. So you may ask yourself, in regarding killing of babies, killing means to cull, C-U-L-L, to cull deer, squirrels, etc. in a controlled forest. Forest actually is a controlled jungle. Look at Ireland. That is a complete and utter farmland. You see, these methods, even though that movie was made way before I was even born. You understand what I'm saying? There were already baby farms in Victoria era. And they get you to believe that these babies were abandoned by their mother and father. I promise you, mothers and fathers don't abandon their babies. These Victorian farms, that's why they were called baby farms. What do you do in a farm? You farm people, animals, you farm things for the purposes of harvesting it. You don't farm animals to set them free in the jungle or the forest, do you? You don't farm sheep to send it back to Epping Forest or any other forest like New Forest or Newfound Forest Land. and all this bullshit ideas that you people have in your mind. You farm for the purposes of harvesting. You are farmed. In Canada, Canada actually means sheep. America means no mercy for sheep. It's called passe, parts of a word. In order for you to attend today's training at 11:45 p.m. my time, the clocks have, I believe, gone backwards. You got to understand this. Have your video camera up and running and your sound up and running. If you do the tests and etc. while I'm on it, on Zoom link, I'll just get rid of you. Don't use my time to test your equipment out. I'm going to use the F-off word with you. That's what Gary Cooper is saying in Fountainhead. Fountainhead means somebody who's created something original. You have been brought up to be farmed and harvested from day one. You have what is known as foundling hospitals. And remember, I have a lot of experience in this. Foundling hospitals were created. When you go in, they say that your baby is abandoned, that the mother doesn't know who the father is and she is abandoning it to the state, to the hospital. Charity chroma. Shall we have a look at what this word means? Every single hospital on this planet that is not private is essentially a foundling hospital. You was born in a foundling hospital, registered in a foundling hospital. Let's have a look at what the meaning means. Before. Oh, what a word. Chromam means before. What do you think it means in the wider picture of what I've just told you? Yeah, before you was born, the charity took you over, and most charities are run by privateers. You know, Skull and Bone Society? Yeah, that's it, you got it. You was born in a foundling hospital. Foundling. In New York, just a few days ago, reinstates all employees fired for being unvaccinated, orders back pay. The Supreme Court is another word for saying it's a court of superficiality. This superficiality court makes an order that you don't need to be vaccinated and that anybody was forced to or sacked has to pay back pay. You live in a superficial world with superficial laws. Common law is essentially no law. That's why they're able to do anything and everything that they want on you. That's called common law. Luckily for myself, in 2015, May, my postmastership, my judgeship, Federal Postal Court, etc., was advertised in the Telegraph, which is the newspaper of judges. They are advertising it to say that we recognize what you are, who you are. But the language will be so twisted that you will actually even want to understand it. What stands out is this. This man has an autograph and a seal, a creator's seal, given to me by the creator for the purposes of creating. Advertising publicly, this man is exactly who he says he is. On my website, ladies and gentlemen, the home page is that you live in two worlds. This is heaven, and this is the hell that you live in. What's in between is separation of light, that which has light and that which does not, that which has corona, lit by the Creator, that which not. This world can turn right upside down, right in your face, in less than a few days, as the Canadian government wishes you now to protest the hospitals for not killing babies, which means they have the power to kill babies out of your own words. That's called a verbal contract. God save the Queen and the fascist regime. On this website, ladies and gentlemen, there have been merry parasites that have come my way. I hold and am the property owner of the largest university of its nature on this planet. My Tricks and Traps program, there's nothing like it on the planet. And on the back of that, I've picked up some parasites, which I have spoken about. This one, I don't know who it is. Parasite. He was sponsored for 8 months by me. Turned out to be just a parasite. Yeah, another parasite. Parasites. This is what they call the dark triad. Part of the dark triad. A malignant narcissist. Yeah, this one is quite unique in a sense. It has what's called echoism. It echoes the voice of a narcissist. Yeah, normally he's this one here. This one here fell in love with this one. As soon as this one knows it's fallen in love, and this one here made complete use of him because he credited him for helping him out. This was a Tricks and Traps student. A few years back. He wanted my help, so I gave him help. Before he knows it, he's the King of Kings. And he credits this guy here instead of saying thank you to me. He heard about it. This guy here, he has a love and hate relationship with me. He both loves me and hates me. He both loves me and hates me. As soon as he heard about it, he tore this one to pieces. Another parasite. This one I kept safe for nearly 2 years or 2.5 years because he had a baby or a son. As soon as he got an opportunity to betray me, he did. This one tried to set up David Way Mills to steal their book. All these people have forfeited their lives. They think that they can steal other people's works and get away with it. No. You see, what I am explaining to you is that there are consequences. Those consequences that the Canadian government is now trying to perpetrate onto you is the fact that you held silent. You see, yourself is the land, and you use marine law to move from one planet to one earth, to one world, to one contract, to one ocean, to another, from one road to another, from one street to another. You use maritime law as vessels. And vessels must never take on water. Perhaps as ballast, that is it. You'll sink yourself. The property registration was created because I foresaw 2 years ago this would be happening. Your baby is the land. From dirt you came, and dirt you'll go back to. They wish to put you back into the earth because you now live in a corona period, and they have to pay you out, or the new owners, but they choose to get rid of you. Yeah, this is a global property registration. Your house, your lands, and your live life claims, all this can be put on there, and it provides all evidence. No theories, ladies and gentlemen. The task and force. I also foresaw this about 5-6 months ago, what was be happening. So I put this together. This is how many people have now started to champion the task and force to stop child mutilation and state-sponsored trafficking. And for that, I created a package called Who God Is, and I proved 100%. 100% cannot even be achieved by science. 100% proof is created by showing evidence after evidence after evidence, up to 10,000% or more, before you can claim beyond any doubt. I didn't say reasonable doubt. I actually cracked the code on who God is. You got to know who you are, what you are, to move forward on this planet. Because whatever you do and don't do has consequence. If you don't do something and you live a cowardly life, the consequences of a cowardly life is that it brings with it horrors. It is best to live a courageous life, because then you control the horrors around you. We even put a package together on how to overcome these narcissists and psychopaths in government, running bureaucracies. The bureaucracies themselves are psychopathic in nature. Your governments, leaders, so on and so forth, they're all narcissists. This package was put together to get you out of that status quo. You understand what I'm saying? This particular video that I released, called Ipsos Mori, They Die, cannot be viewed anymore on any platform. The information is so sensitive that they're stopping it from playing, even on BitChute. Do you understand what I'm saying? I operate beyond the boundaries of what present men and women do, even the governments. I've broken the boundaries of present human understanding, knowledge in so many categories. And on that, it will give you 100. See, it's not playing. This is the video on BitChute. It's not playing. And even my website is stopping it from playing. That's called control. That's how much control that they have. It's to show you this document. This is a document calling people in to have a COVID test. And it's created by a company working in hand with Imperial College of London. This is just in this country. Ipsos Mori. Mori is spelt in capitals to signify it's dead. This means they die. Ipsos means they die. Openly advertising that you will die. I have the technology and the knowledge to bring these things to a stop. I'm going to change subject. A couple of years ago, when Hugh did the presentation on Pekka Maru and what it means, they put up this offwit here as a government official lying out of his teeth to tell you it's all just a lie. Listen to the video. I'm not going to play it now because this is a moron. There's even a section here. Look what it says. Pekka Maru owns some cleverly crafted business names that attempt to mimic state and government departments. For example, Pekka Maru is registered an office in fair trading in New South Wales. More like another island off Australia. And there's even a sentence here, which I've forgotten where it is, where it says, look, there it is, the relationship between Parliament, the judiciary and executive can be confusing. can be confusing. You mean it was designed to be confusing. Australia is a sovereign country. Sovereign means it doesn't have a contract with anybody. It's totally independent, as it were. They call it, the proper word for it is unique. Unique means like unisex, one. And Q means it's just one straight thing. Unisex. Unique means one Q. And this Q movement is massive. It's spelled with a Q, as in O with a dash in it. Look it up. And its governances consist of three arms: the Parliament, the Judiciary, and the Executive. I have a whole training program on how my Tricks and Traps students now have the ability to become their own legislative body for any country in the world. But you have to see it through. Australia is also a constitutional monarch. In other words, they have a queen or a king or a principality. Who is the principality, the king, the queen of Australia? So it can't be a sovereign country, can it? Sovereignty means no contract. Country means that you have to have a contract with the post office. Did you know that? That's what country means. It's a patented name. Australia is a constitutional monarch, which means the Queen is the head of the state, and Australia. What oxymorons these people speak. It's a totally sovereign country, but it has a queen. Okay. So there is only one person in Australia, and that's the Queen. In current situation, it would be the King, as it were. Australia is our government relies on terms of Australian Constitution. I could analyze this to, this Constitution, Australian Constitutional, is a country constitution created by the federal courts around the world. In other words, it's a post office. That's why in your American Constitution it says you cannot call yourself a country unless you have a postal treaty with Bern, Switzerland. That's how powerful they are. So if that's the case, whose constitution is it? England's, yours, or is it the post office's? You can't call yourself a country unless you have a treaty with the post office, the Universal Postal Union. That's what it says in your constitution. You Americans, look it up. I found this on YouTube. As you know, I'm no longer on YouTube because I left it. The censorship was extraordinary. Listen to it. It's I think it's one of David Wayne Miller's students that does what it does. It could be one of my students, I've forgotten. Yeah, but just listen.
For my knowledge of the facts is with this claim of my sovereign existence.
Court notes the presence of Defendant William Dennis, motion by the state in case 5 DTC 16-00451.
Yes, to dismiss with prejudice.
There's an oral motion by the state to dismiss this case with prejudice that will be granted by the court. So ordered, Mr. Dennis, this case has been dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be rebrought in the future. Are we doing in court? If you'll have a seat, they'll prepare your order of dismissal. Thank you.
For my knowledge of my peaceful volition is with this claim of this participation with avoidance of the perjury by the correct sentence structure communication passe syntax grammar.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. You may have a seat and we'll serve you with your order of dismissal. Next case.
You see, the reason why I'm showing you this, even though I don't know who he is, there's a lot of people out there that have benefited from David Wayne Miller's technology and the way that I have championed it. And yes, look, I have thousands of students. Out of that, anything up to 14, 15 have been extremely toxic. Some of them on my website. you know, these influencers, they tell me it's unavoidable, Mark. The CIA has to spend millions of pounds, FBI and all of these agencies trying to keep them out. And they have limitless resources. You understand what I'm saying? You have to identify them and you have to purge them out of your life. And also purge them, and I mean quite literally purge them of this planet. You see, the birth certificate, what is on paper, if your children need to be having a live life claim, which will be advertised on my website for the whole world to see. And we even created one called Certificate of Live Birth. You don't have a Certificate of Live Birth. And I've created unique serial numbers for it and a unique patented letter with it. Buy it to say it's identifies, not identifies, it shows your uniqueness. And I've put fail-safes in it, that it will be openly advertised on my website. So you can just simply say, look, I'll go look at Mark's website. I'm on there. Don't ever tell me what to do, when not to, so on and so forth. The reason why this is here on iStock is because you need to know such documents exist, even though you don't have a certificate of live birth or a live life claim. You just have a birth certificate, which is a floated bond signifying your attachment to the Foundling Hospital, floated on the stock market as a tax goem, Silent weapons for quiet wars. This is code name. We're going to use silent weapons for the quiet wars that we have perpetrated, is what they're saying. You've gone past that now. Because you remain silent, they're no longer quiet wars. They're openly telling you, ipsos mori. So I looked up what quiet means, the opposite of what it means. It means loud. So the opposite of not saying something is remaining silent, quiet. A quiet victim. So then I looked up what the meaning of silent is. It's not quiet. It's not loud. It's the opposite of not communicating, especially when expected. In other words, you did not speak up when it mattered the most. When it mattered the most, you did not even take up colloquialism. Screw you. To hell with you, government. F off. You didn't even bother saying that. Yeah, it actually means the failing to speak. As a result, all those people that were silent in the horrors are all earmarked to be taken out with your babies and etc. That's what they've said to you. Remind yourself, when you sing God Save the Queen or the King, you are singing an anthem. An anthem. And an anthem is a verbal contract, because your word is your bond. Your bond. And that's what the Sex Pistols did. They got your bond. And you forgave the Queen and the fascist regimes. That's the power of words. Power of words marries you and divorces you. And what takes on paper is the witnessing of it. Do you understand? It's a verbal contract, more powerful than paper. So keep your mouth shut and put your pen to paper. That way you'll be able to rehearse what you need to say so you don't get it wrong. I've got to show you this. There are thousands of movies like this, whether it be The Walking Dead, zombies, etc. It's a scene from The Time Machine. It was directed by George Orwell's, H.G. Wells' great-grandson, I think it was, or grandson. It's when he finds out, and I'll be in copy breachment if I play it anymore, and I don't want to do that. He's in the cave when he realizes that the people that have been taken are actually food for their own species, called cannibalism. They're practicing cannibalism on you. That's what the face cream is, or foreskins. It's cannibalism. When you wear that cream and that skin grafting, checked by blood group diets, or blood groups, I should say, this is what you look like. This is who you are. And this is what gets killed. And this is so firmly attached, it cannot be made as distinction between this and that. This is what they have turned you into. And this, ladies and gentlemen, nowadays is a real live skin made out of foreskins. He realizes the horror that they are human harvesting. Humans harvesting other humans. This is your own species cannibalizing on you. You understand? He discovers cannibals are for real. And it's happening in Canada, United States, Australia. He's having a conversation with a man that harvests this time machine. Right? He's being honest. Trying to find the bit that I want you to listen to.
And for those who are suitable to be breeding vessels.
You see that word? That's a vessel. That's maritime. It's in faith law, it's in maritime, it's on land as well. Moving vessels. I can make this presentation last days with the back of the knowledge that I have. This is what they have done to you. And this is what they are expecting you to do to yourself, to imprison you, to make that which is best in you subconscious, hidden away, subterranean. The only honest person here is this guy here. The rest is just fearful. If you are wondering who this is, whose first time has been given a name called Alexandra, before H.G. Wells made him nameless. Here, and I've gone way off subject, I'm giving you an idea, a glimpse of how deep my knowledge is with symbolism. This is the Time Lord. This is Kronos. This is Captain Kronos. This is Doctor Who. You understand? This is the Time Lord. This is Kronos. They all mean the one same thing. But the pictorial way that it's described, you can't figure it out because you don't speak the symbolic language Symbolic language needs very powerful feelings with it. The feelings that are found in men and women and not humans. This is the Kingsman, openly telling you what they're practicing. I'll play a few seconds with it.
Dulce et decorum est, pro patria more. It is sweet and proper to die for one's country.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You remember Ipsos Mori? It's being recited to you. It's not his son that dies from the movie Kingsman. It's you. You die for your country. You die for the post office. From cradle to grave. Unless you know how to control the conduits. That's what it means. To die. It's sweet and proper to die for one's country. You need to watch this presentation in order to join me today, 11:45 p.m., which is my time in the UK, England, if you like, in order to join it. And I'll tell you why more, and I'll answer your questions. But I want to make it very clear, I'm not going to sponsor you. This one is for free, but the necessary things that you need to do, I will direct you into my website. This is not going to be a philanthropic discussion. This is not about sacrifice. I made it very clear. I ain't paying for you. Too many of you have been quiet. Of course, all of my Tricks and Traps students and taxes, mortgage clients, all of them can all come to us. That's fine, because you already made your decision. But those ones that are not my Tricks and Traps students, that like to sit on the fence and try to get freebies, they ain't happening. Out of courtesy, out of social contract, I will tell you where to get the information from my website. It will be recorded. You understand it will be recorded. You need to have your camera on and your mic on, because I will not accept you. And you need to have your driving license or something like that, and you just block out the number and your name, and you just show it to me. But block out the number and the name and the address. I just need to see your face on that card. It can be a passport as well. But I don't want to see any serial numbers. You take responsibility for not showing me any serial numbers or addresses. Just need to see that face on that card. Otherwise, I'm not letting you in. I have a solution to 1,001 problems, as my students will tell you. And for those people that think that they can steal these things and make it their own, just like these parasites do, I'm going to wreak such things on you. I'm going to show you. When you screw with David Wayne Miller's technology, when you steal from me, there is going to be consequences. The reason why, just to remind you of what this is about, they are going to come for your babies. If you're silent on it, they're going to come on after you. If you protest them, you're going to give them power. If you try to steal from me, because what you do, I will advertise with that uniqueness, which I have treaties in place, which will be advertised on paper, on my website, so they who want to kill you can see it. I have set such treaties in place to separate who are factual and who are not. You understand? That's why my website now has names.